Welcome, Kathy.
Thanks, Dev. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today.
Thank you. Kathy, before we delve into specific questions, could you give the listeners a brief about your background and your journey through the organization and through the sector and in regional remote WA?
I've always lived, or predominantly in regional WA, and I grew up in a family in various towns around the southwest in WA. My brother has a cognitive and psychosocial disability, so I guess my career has probably been shaped by my experiences growing up with a brother who couldn't attend mainstream schooling, and I guess parents that were very progressive, who really wanted to make sure that they could support my brother to be able to live the best life that he could, and to have high expectations for him. And I think that really did shape my career and I guess my values and how I like to work with and alongside people with disability. My parents were progressive in that they did whatever it took to ensure my brother was supported. That was always number one. And he went to a different school. The mainstream education system 40 years ago just couldn't cope. And my grandmother and my mum had also worked supporting people with disability. So I was about 15 when I decided that was the career path I was going to take.
Were you caring for your brother across his... Were you also one of the carers for your brother?
No, I wouldn't say so. No, my relationship with my brother has been supportive, but in terms of care and support, that's predominantly been my parents. When I was 15, I decided this is the path I was going to take, and I started doing voluntary work when I was 17 because you couldn't work with people with disability until you were 21 in those days, and it was called the Slow Learning Children's Group, and of course now called Active, and did voluntary work. When I was 20, they gave up and gave me a job, and I trained to be a social trainer.
Okay.
So in those days we were working in large residential services, but I guess I was part of the de-institutionalization and the move towards smaller, residential group home settings. And then in the 90s, was fortunate to get a role working with an organisation that wanted to take that a step further and develop individual living options and the co-resident model. So I felt very passionate and felt strongly that people needed to be able to live lives where they were the leaders in their own life, where you had a life that had a lot more spontaneity and the natural ebbs and flows that we all get living in our homes and with our families. And I guess an awareness of some of the challenges that come with the residential models of support. And so with my husband Jim and I, and at that stage we had a 15-month-old, we opted to become one of the first host families, if not the first host family in WA, for a lady, Jude, who has significant disability.